Okay, hello everyone and welcome back to Tanks Blitz, and today we're going to be doing a garage review of this thing, the T-15, a Tier 3 German light tank. I think this tank is actually Czechoslovakian, something along those lines, but obviously the Germans took it and put it into service in their Panzer Corps. But here in Tanks Blitz it's just been bundled in with the German tech tree, for obvious reasons, and so here it is. I received this thing because I received it once for free from a crate. I didn't want it, so I got rid of it. I received it again from buying the Panzer II J. So here it is, and yeah, I'm gonna do the review on it since I never got around to doing that. So 509 HP. If I was to take off improved assembly, it would go down to 480, which in comparison to something like Panzer III A, which has got 500, you've got the Locust, which has got 490, the LTP, which has got 480, let's just go with the, the cruiser's a medium, T-57, which has got 519. I think if I was to take off improved assembly, go down to 490. So it's not got that much health, really. In comparison, it's in the lower end of the health pool. So unless you've got improved assembly on, you will die to one or two less hits than some of your other light tank counterparts at this tier. The armour, though, 30 frontal turret, 25 side and rear, 30 frontal hull, 20 side, 12 rear. The frontal armour actually isn't too bad. It's not the most armour out of everything here. You know, the LTP, for example, has got it sloped and is also 30mm of armour. Panzer III A has also got 30mm of frontal turret armour. The hull armour obviously is absolutely terrible. But the Locust, that's got 25 frontal turret and 25 frontal hull, so you know, it's not too bad. It is flat, however. It does have a tiny bit of sloping there, but really, if it catches you at an odd angle, it will bounce. However, frontally, yeah, very little is not penetrating this other than a 2J, for example, or perhaps another T-15 at range, but otherwise most things will go through you. But when I was driving it, I did get some bounces, so that is something to note. You can bounce, but it is very rare, so don't bank on it don't bank on the armour to save you here. 264 meters view range, which is mobility, however, pretty decent at 41 average speed, which is pretty fast with a very good power to weight, 26 power to weight ratio with a 60 kilometers per hour maximum forward speed and 20 maximum reverse speed, which is pretty good. 44 degrees turret traverse and a 50 degree hull traverse with a 237 horsepower engine, bearing in mind that I have got on engine accelerator because it had all the equipment slots unlocked when I got this thing in the bundle. Which means that this thing is very, very mobile. It is a very mobile light tank in comparison to something like the Panzer III A, which has got a worse power to weight, worse average speed, it has better top, but worse average across rough ground, and it also has got the same hull but a worse turret traverse, with a more powerful engine as well. Which means that this thing is, yeah, very, very nippy. It is very small, very nippy. T-57, yeah, I was going to bring that up, but no, that's nowhere near. In comparison, the M3 Light as well, which has got a worse average speed, worse power to weight, with a similar sort of engine, but worse hull traverse and a worse turret traverse as well. This thing really is pretty much unmatched in terms of mobility, other than some of the very, very, very light tanks. Obviously, I don't have every tank at this tier, unfortunately, but you know, even the Locust has got a worse power to weight. It's got a worse average speed, worse turret, and worse hull traverse, but it does have a not so beefy engine. If this thing had the same horsepower as the T-15, this thing would probably match it. However, as it is, this thing has got, I would say, the best mobility at this tier out of anything, which means that you can easily outcircle tanks which you would struggle to pen if you can charge at them. Things like the Panzer B2, for example, the Matilda, if you're lucky, you can pen from the rear. And with the speed and mobility, you can Well, I was going to say you can outpace them, but the Panzer B2 has got a pretty crazy mobility for a heavy tank. There's something like the Matilda, definitely. You can constantly just out-circle with this tank. Even things that you would struggle to penetrate frontally, like the Panzer III, you can outturn in this because it's just so quick and so mobile, which makes it very fun to drive around in. The gun, however, is not so great. 2.6 second aim time with 0.35 dispersion for 1000 DPM with a 3 second reload time. However, it only has 42 millipen with AP and 74 with APCR, and it only does 55 average damage with AP, 45 with APCR, but it does have 10 degrees of gun depression. But even so, the gun really is not great. It's very quick to fire, most certainly, but then it's a similar situation as you've got on the Valentine II, where this gun is just absolutely terrible, but it has a very, very rapid rate of fire and theoretically very good DPM. You know, 1000 DPM at this tier is very good. Something like the Marder, for example, the tank destroyer, has only got 865. Something like the Medium 3 has got 1047 DPM, but it does at least have the penetration and damage to back it up. Whereas this thing, you can theoretically do a lot of damage, but you have to bank on those shots penetrating, and really, unless you hit a weak spot of the tank, it's not likely to go through frontally. Panzer III you can forget about going frontally on. Unless you load APCR, you're not getting through this thing. A lot of tanks at tier 4 as well, the Matilda, the Panzer B2, the B1, other similarly heavily armoured tanks you're going to struggle against, which is why you need to bring a supply of APCR, which I might actually increase. There you go. Bit more APCR ammo. Yeah, you really do want APCR ammo loaded on this thing if you're going to play in it, because there's a lot of tanks at this tier, and possibly even the tier below, that you will struggle to penetrate. Something like the Panzer S35 has got 56 frontal turret and 36 frontal hull, but the hull is sloped. It will give you problems. You cannot pen the Panzer III frontally unless you load APCR. Panzer II J as well, you're not going to penetrate with standard ammo. Su-76I, you can't pen frontally with standard ammunition. The Cruiser, the sides of the turret, you can't penetrate with standard ammunition, because the turret itself actually ends here. These extra bits, these are just spaced armour, and that means that your shell will penetrate the outer ammo, the outer side protective armour. It will start spooling. It will then probably fail to pen the side of the turret, and bam, that's it. You can't pen it. Something like the M3 Light, 38 frontal turret, 38 frontal hull. It is partially sloped. It goes up to about 42 mil of effective armour, let's say. You can't pen that frontally with armour piercing. You have to go with APCR. So that's the real downside of this gun. I mean, granted, what's the likelihood you're going to get all of these tanks in a single battle on the enemy team? Very low. However, you're probably going to get at least one of these tanks in every battle that you play in this thing. So you're going to want to have a supply of armour piercing composite rigid, just to deal with things like Panzer IIIs and other tanks that you can't penetrate. So don't expect the gun to be able to just penetrate through everything like a Marder, or an Su-76I, or even the BTSV's gun. Even this thing has got 84 mil of pen, and that still bounces off of a bunch of stuff. So this thing, yeah, really you do want armour piercing composite rigid. But overall though, pretty fast tank, pretty mobile. Gun theoretically has got good DPM, but the penetration is absolutely terrible, and the accuracy isn't bad though. The aim time is decent, the accuracy as well, 0.35 is not too bad. As for consumables, you can only have two: the multi-purpose, which is your first aid, repair, fire, and then you've got engine power boost. You might as well go ahead and mount those two, because you do have two consumable slots open, so you might as well go mount them. There are only 300 credits for the two of them. You'll probably make that back. Even if you do have a loss and don't do anything, you'll probably make a profit on it. So after all, this is a collector's tank, so it does have a better credit coefficient anyway than a regular tank, so yeah, there's really no reason to not have those things on. As for ammo, you do carry 78 rounds of ammo, so you could go ahead and mount as much APCR or AP as you want. However, do pay attention to that 3-second reload time. The ammo problem is not as bad as something like the Valentine II, where the Valentine II fires very quickly as well, but only carries 51 rounds of ammo. Is it 51? No, 61 rounds of ammo. So, it carries 61 rounds of ammo, but it fires it very quickly. You fire very quickly in this, but you do at least have 78 rounds of ammo. So, whilst you shouldn't burn through all of your ammo, you should be careful with your shots and actually aim them. Don't just blaze away at the enemy when you see them. Do at least take some time to aim, but yeah, you can kind of blaze away with this. But do keep an eye on your ammo count in some of the longer battles, or maybe battles where you might have to carry the team where there's several tanks left and you're the only one left. Do then pay attention to your ammo count. As for equipment slots, gun rammer, I mean, you can go with calibrated shells, but honestly it adds barely anything. 2 extra pen, 4 extra pen. Honestly, you might as well get the better DPM and get your reload time down to 3 seconds instead of 3.2. Honestly, the penetration gained by calibrated shells at this low tier on guns this small is minimal. So, gun rammer, definitely. Improved modules for the extra track durability. I mean, you might as well... You can ram stuff in this tank. It's fast enough. You can be like a little tank torpedo and you'll do decent damage to other tiered opponents. Against heavily armoured tanks like Matilda, you're not going to do much, but yeah. You can go for it, but improved modules is better if you're going to do ramming, and also for the extra track durability and the fuel tank and ammo rack durability, so you might as well go with improved modules. Coated optics, definitely. You're not a sniper. You don't have the penetration to be a sniper, so camo net is useless in this case. Go with coated optics. Supercharge as well, to basically just to keep your penetration up as high as you can, possibly for the longest time. Definitely go with supercharge for the penetration decrease over distance. Again, you're not a sniper due to your penetration. However, it will help at medium ranges. It will help just keep your penetration up at a decent number at range. And then improved assembly for the extra HP. Like I said, you don't have a lot of HP for this tier. You're one of the lowest tanks to have AP. You're one of the lowest health tanks at this tier. That's what I was trying to say. So definitely go with improved assembly for the extra HP. Engine accelerator, might as well. You don't need the extra traverse speed given by the improved controls, so you might as well just get better power to weight and better engine power and a better average speed. You might as well. Like I said, it's probably the most mobile tank at this tier, so go with that. Vert stabs, you can fire on the move. Again, you're very quick. If you circle around some of the heavily armoured tanks or tanks that you can't pen frontally, vert stabs will help. If you want the extra accuracy, refined gun is not a bad choice. Gets you down to 0.31 from 0.35, which is a decent increase. So it's your choice really of which one you want to go there. I want to go with vert stabs for doing peek-a-boom tactics. However, if you go with refined gun, I can understand that. And then your choice of those two, and then your choice of whatever the hell those two things are. So, overall, the T-15, it is a fun tank. Don't get me wrong, it is a fun tank to drive. It's got very, very good mobility. The gun, it is always fun to have a gun which fires that quickly. However, if you like guns that can actually penetrate things, and guns that you can just sort of point and have a decent chance of penetrating, then this tank won't be for you. However, if you do just want something that's fun to drive around in at low tiers, that you can just go barreling around in, having a jolly good time at this tier, then pick it up, I suppose, when you can. So the T-15, I'll thank you all for watching, and goodbye.